Hey there, everybody out in internet land, hangout land, YouTube land, crowdcast land, a place where you're sitting in front of a mobile device or a laptop device or some kind of device and just a little bit curious to make a connection with us today. Hi, I'm Elaine Nieberding, and this is the Holy Shift Show, episode 31. What the A? What the A? Gee, we're ending up August of 2015, and at least I'm saying the right year for this episode, because the last time I was saying it was 2014. Anyway, I am so happy to be back with you for a 45 minutes or so of lively conversation and levity. We are here to inspire you to find solutions to your life through play and fun engagement. We certainly are about fun here. And I have two great guests to explore with me these different A words: angst, awakening awarenesses, the month of August, and let's see, announcements too. And since we are talking to you, our audience, our beloved flockers, we'll start out by saying we are glad that you're here watching live replay in any one of the places that you might happen to be watching, Google+, on YouTube, or in our new fun wrapper, Crowdcast. Before I go any further, I'm going to say hi to my two friends and panelists, both hailing from the effing state of Florida. First, here is Eli Fennell. Say hi, Eli. How are you doing?
Hi, Eli. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Eli. You literal-minded man, not. I'm glad you're with us, and I'm so happy that you have lighting and ambiance in your arena so that we can see you really, really nicely this time and appreciate what the humidity is doing to your hair. It's lovely. It's lovely. Okay, and here's our other guy who doesn't have the same kind of hair day ever as Eli, and that is Ron Snaberger, also hailing from, tell us where in Florida, Ron.
Jupiter, Florida, right on the coast, a little north of West Palm Beach. And yeah, I don't have to worry about taking care of my hair like Eli. I just pull out a wash rag and one wipe over my head, and I'm set to go.
Yeah, hey, Ron, do you ever have to pull out a razor though, or a shaver or anything? Just pick out those little stray guys that want to stand up and be counted.
You're absolutely right, and that's the annoying part. The hair doesn't grow, but some fuzzies on the top, and it's like you just got to keep shaving them off, or you have a couple stray hairs that kind of twirl around. So, but it's I think I'd rather have my problem than Donald Trump's problem of trying to comb it over and then keep it in place with a lot of spray or something. But
Donald wants to be distinctive, so I'm sure he has kept that as strange and unique a hairdo as it is, because it's remembered. He ain't afraid to be controversial. That is faux show. Before I go any farther, talking about A words for the day, I would like to acknowledge that there are awesome folks amongst our flockers, our audience, and they may be trickling in, but beautiful Bill Graham from Belize is already here, and he's saying, I'm here from sunny Belize after 10 days without the internet. Well, Bill, how lovely that you are actually showing up to grace us with your attention, and you sure do share some interesting tips about living economically and getting back in touch with nature. So we're happy you're here, and thank you. And Ron, do you see anybody over in Crowdcast showing up today?
We have Bill is over here too. He's working both. Leela Martin is over here. She's watching on Crowdcast. I don't know if she's on both, but those are the only two so far. So if somebody's out there and wants to join us on Crowdcast, please do.
Okay, and so I would like to bring attention to, on my lower third here, we do have how you can actually experience the Crowdcast wrapper. If you type in your browser ccst.io/e/Elaine Nieberding 9, you will be able to sign in to Crowdcast, link to your G+ account, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, and actually now I think the developer Cy has actually added, you can just sign in with an email address. And Crowdcast hosts have the option to ask people to register, make it completely public. I actually am trying to train my audience to register, give me their email addresses. It's not like I'm going to spam them. I sure ain't going to do that. But it's part of building a multi-tiered way of relating to people who have some interest in what I have to offer. So that's one of the things going on. So folks, even if you're watching replay, type this in and jump on over to experience this in the Crowdcast way. Alrighty, I would now like to also let people know that I did put up a couple questions in the Crowdcast arena, and Ron, can you see those questions that I put on up? You're muted, Ron. Unmute, please.
Sorry about that. No, I can't. Can't pull up the questions. I don't know why.
Okay.
I see the comments here, and
all right. So don't worry about that. I might open those on up in a little while. In fact, I think I will take just a second to see if from my little window here I can open those on up. We will see. Let's see. First of all, I want to let people know that that if they are over on Crowdcast and want to jump back over to the Google Plus event page, there is, if you use the slider bar to go on up, above the video player, you will find the event details and a link that just says G+ event page. And if you click on that, you can jump on over there if you wanted to read the full details on the event or anything like that. You could do that if you wanted. Beneath the video player are the questions, and let's see if they...
I did find the questions, Elaine.
I'm sorry?
I did find the questions. I got them.
You did find the questions. Okay. Yeah. And so I'm going to read the questions, and I'm going to ask Eli if any of those rings his bells to start waxing and waning on letter A's. So the three questions I put up were, what about Google's morphing and alphabet? That was the first question. And the second one, audience and everyone, what's an awareness that you've had to propel you forward in good ways through the end of 2015? That's the A word, awareness. And the third one was, let's get authentic about August angst. So that could be, just things that were struggles or changes or unexpected challenges. So, Eli, Mr. Wonderful, wise, witty, waxing on A, an assortment of all kinds of things on Google+. What say you, my dear?
Okay, let's start with Alphabet. I have to say what I see when I look at Alphabet is the kind of thing that continues to make Google different. Even as, they've gotten bigger, and so in some ways they have come to resemble other large corporations in some ways. You can't be a startup forever. They still hold on to a bit of that startup mentality, and Alphabet is their way of essentially creating a platform for all these moonshots, all these different experiments they want to do to pursue, what Larry Page calls 10x thinking, which is thinking 10 times bigger, 10 times better instead of just 10% better. And Wall Street seems to like it, even though, in effect, it's at the moment it's not that much different than the way Google was already working. Wall Street just really seems to like that, not everything's sort of being crammed under the Google heading. They were kind of stretching Google's mission statement pretty far to the breaking point there with some of the things they were starting to do. Life sciences, driverless cars, all that stuff. And the Wall Street has responded really well. Their stock value's gone through the roof. But I think the important part here is that they've proven they're willing to do something that corporations that size usually have too much inertia to do. I mean, when does a company as large as a Google, a Microsoft, and Apple ever just suddenly become part of another larger entity? That just almost doesn't happen, particularly as who would have the money to acquire you. Well, they just did it voluntarily. They're like, well, shoot, let's do this. We're still going to use Google for now, at least, because it's generating the most revenue as a source of revenue for a lot of these experiments and a lot of these developments. But, we're also going to try to build a whole portfolio of successful companies, and we're not going to be held back from pursuing moonshots that we know are necessary for our survival and our future just because some investors are getting a little tight in the wallet.
So I have a question. For you. Eli, my husband asks me this all the time. Like, where does Google get its income from? Is it really largely just from like Google AdWords? Is that most of it? What are its other revenue sources?
Well, AdWords is most of it, but they are, their revenue contribution from other sources is increasing. Sales of devices and all sorts of, revenue from the Play Store for paid apps and such. But yes, at the moment, AdWords and those kind of advertising, tied in particular to search, is where most of it comes from. And that's obviously part of what they want to avoid is being a one-trick pony. They want to eventually be able to say more money, at least collectively, is coming from different sources of revenue than just search. Because if you stick with one thing forever, you're going to die eventually.
And okay, I would like to say to the audience for a minute, most Hangout hosts who are trying out this new wrapper thing, we're still getting used to using some of the features. So here I mentioned the 3 questions and what I was supposed to do to timestamp Eli responding to question number 1, what's this about Google morphing into Alphabet? I was supposed to hit it saying, like, answer the question now. So let's see if it will actually do that, if it'll actually move into the answering mode. Can you see if that's coming up on the screen at all? Comment. Let's do this one. How do I make the comment come on up? Remember, just a few weeks ago, the developer Sai showed us a new way to have the questions show up when we were answering them. So it is a big effing fail for the Hangout host today. I'm putting up and timestamping the questions. What can I say? But we're here flying, and we'll appreciate that we're here for the audience anyway. And hey, Ron, a couple other people showed up, didn't they?
Yeah, let me get back to that part. Marcus Dieterle showed up. So we have a few there. Now the others, I don't see them here in the, let me see if I can find them here. Jim Sharp, Leela Martin, David F., Small Business David, Leopold, yeah. I think it is, Bill Graham, Marcus Dieterle. Those are the ones that I have listed here.
So apparently, Ron, I have more practice to do with this. So the next time I do it, I'll get it right, because, you know, I thought I did this once, maybe even practicing with you. Ah, Marcus Dieterle is saying, I can see it. He wrote back in the comments, can you mark it as answered? That's what I'm looking as, marking it answered, and you know, I thought I should be able to do this from the panel, but it ain't happening, so I don't know what the story is. I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, so Ron, have you had any thoughts, you know, about this whole alphabet thing and Google?
I really haven't taken a look at it, and I really don't have any thoughts about it. It's like I'm still trying to learn the old stuff that seems to be going away, and it's like I'm just not going to worry about it right now. It's like.
So Eli, I'm going to hand this back to you for a minute while I go try to find something in my screen share that kind of relates to Google and alphabetness. So just carry on the Google stuff for un momento, if you would, and unmute. Thank you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that, you know, it basically just comes down to that Larry Page and Sergey Brin were very, very ambitious young men when they started Google back in 1998, and they had, you know, every intention of continuing to experiment with bold new ideas, and, you know, not get stuck in one business model, not get, you know, tied to one revenue source. And not start thinking in terms of like, oh, well, let's just make this a little better, a little better, a little better. You know, the 10x thinking is something that Larry Page in particular learned in an entrepreneurial, I believe it was an entrepreneurial course that he took in college. And it really stuck with him that, you know, as he says, the biggest problem with corporations these days is they just want to make things 10% better because that's the safe way to do it. You know, don't rock the boat, don't upset your current customer base. And on that point, I will say there's always somebody who is upset about the changes Google's making, and yet they keep getting billion-person products out there. So, you know, who's wrong? The company that keeps satisfying a billion people, or the few people who desperately want to cling to the status quo and the way things work?
Well, I, for one, Evan, you know, I basically got onto Google Plus because of learning about Hangouts and the ability to, like, broadcast and reach out to people all around the world. And so, you know, I started my show. I'm finding my voice. I've connected with laughter yoga people all over the world. And, you know, and it is just, it's been so much fun on Google Plus, getting to know people from so many different backgrounds, cultures, sharing experiences. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. In fact, what I was just looking for when we were talking about the alphabet stuff, I am now going to switch back on to my screen share, because what I found was this cool thing called the the Google logo generator. So if I type in Holy Shift Show, it will create me. Look at that cool logo. Isn't that fun? In googly colors, in googly fonts, and I can download that. So for any of you who enjoy playing with fonts, there's another good F word for you, and explore assortment of fonts, you can play with the Google logo generator. How about that? Isn't that fun? All right, let me bring back my screen. There I am. I'm back. Alrighty. The next thing that I would like to shift on to talking about is awarenesses of any one of you in the month of August. This has been the month of August for me started out with actually you, Eli, and Ron, and handful of other wonderful G Plus folks getting together to talk about all these changes on Google Plus. And we had so much fun that I thought I'd reprise this with at least a few of you who are available. So that's making fun for this day. But August for me was a period of time of really a lot of adjustments. Both my husband had been ill in July, most of July, and my mother, who was 96, was really declining, and then had a rather astounding reversal. So all of those changes have required a lot of attention and adjustment on my part. And I found that I really disconnected from some of my routines for going outside, doing things out in nature, and of course when it's hot, we often don't have the inclination to do that either. But on Saturday of this past weekend, it was about the nicest August day that I could remember. And my husband and I were sitting out having lunch out on our deck, and I said, we got to do something. This is a day meant for an outing. And we decided we were going to go into downtown Baltimore and take the water taxi, which goes around to different places in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, and perhaps have something fun to eat and drink, and just be back out connecting with nature. And so what I would like to do, and this is also in appreciation of Google's photos, I'm going to jump on over and go back on over to Google Photos and just share a little bit with you. Let's type photos. Oops.
Looks like you already have a tab open for photos.
Now there's the second pair of eyes that I was looking for. Thank you, Eli. My twin brain, I appreciate it. So what I'm gonna, I am enjoying Google Photos. I have been taking a bunch of pictures in my iPhone, and it automatically syncs them on up into my Google Photos account. One of the coolest things that I got to experience was, it's not getting bigger, hold on, was Google stitching together a couple photos for me, as you can see, and making this panoramic shot of the Baltimore Inner Harbor. So hubby Art and I went to this Spanish restaurant called La Tasca, and they had outdoor seating on the second level. So I took my little iPhone and I pointed it toward the Baltimore Aquarium here, and then panned it over toward this this brick extended dock area. This is the old Revolutionary Era warship, the USS Constellation, which is docked here. Boy, it's got some big guns on it. And then over here is the one of the Harbor Place pavilions. Over here is another Harbor Place pavilion, and there are other hotels in the background. And this green area here is Federal Hill. Anyway, it was really fun to see this automatic feature right here. But on my beautiful day, we went on the water taxi. And there you can see the SS Constellation. And that's another view for the water taxi. Holds about 40 people or so. This is my husband. This was getting on the water taxi to go back to Fells Point, the other area where we were, where we first got on the water taxi. In the Inner Harbor, this is a really fun thing to do too. There are these little paddle boats that are supposed to look like little Nessie sea monsters. But anyway, I enjoyed this time out so very much. And of course, here's some of the sangria and the good food that we enjoyed. And at the end of the evening, what we did, we headed back through the part of Baltimore known as Fells Point, where I decided, you know what, I really enjoy taking pictures and appreciating textures. And we were talking about this a little bit in the green room. When I have my camera with me, I often want to capture textures. So I was really excited about Google Photos and what textures, you know, could I capture as I went along these couple streets before we got back to our car. Cobblestones, interesting textures of locks. Anyway, I'm enjoying my iPhone camera and the fact that I can automatically sync all my pictures on up to Google Photos. And in the days ahead, I expect to be using some of these for new posts that I will be making on my own Google collections. So let me get out of screen share mode and let me get on back here. All right, hello everybody. So anyway, my basic thing about awarenesses was it was really time in late August for me to reconnect with being outside, getting into visual appreciation of my environment, and using some of these new Google tools to help my creative expression unfold in some of the communications that I do on Google Plus and in other venues. So let me ask Eli or Ron, any interesting experiences in August for you, just bringing forth new kind of awarenesses that maybe you weren't expecting?
Yeah. My wife went on vacation last week. She got back on Sunday. She was out in California for 8 days, and talking about awareness, it made me aware of how much I missed her and how much I appreciate her. We get those 2 A words in there. And sometimes a little bit of separation, you know, you think about, yeah, I'm so glad she's in my life. And so that was the biggest thing that happened to me in August, was being separated for 8 days and missing her.
Eli, interesting awarenesses of you in August. Relate to anything.
Well, actually, yeah, this month I had a little bit of a medical brush with my own mortality. I'm not going to go into that, but let's just say it was closer than I would like, and, you know, that makes you really take stock of a lot of things, you know, particularly when you're in your early 30s, you still got a little bit of that immortality complex. So, it's rough to get smacked down completely by life on that. You know, it's no, you are not, in fact, immortal. You know, really made me take stock, you know, and just remember what's really important in my life, you know, friends, family, and fun. 3 F's right there. And, you know, over the last, you know, couple months in particular, and this month especially, I've really just been trying to have a lot more fun, including on social media, because it's real easy, even when you consciously trying not to, when you're in internet marketing and you like I am, to sort of start losing the fun, you know. And a few months back, really, I started to notice that I was getting a little jaded, a little cynical. I wasn't having as much fun as I used to with social media. And well, anybody who follows me now is, you know, can probably see that there's a lot less serious stuff that I'm posting now, and a lot more just humor and geekery and nerdishness, and I'm having more fun, and my followers seem to be enjoying it more, you know. And honestly, I think, you know, every laugh is a few seconds longer I'll probably live. So that's what really has taken stock for me, you know.
So, and as Ron would tell you, if you're hanging around me and you join me for some more of these laughter things, actually the intentional laughter practice will actually help expand your lung capacity. You know, he's got his own lung issues, and he's found that after he's joined me for some of these sessions, maybe intentionally laughing for like 10 minutes, it helps your lungs. It's amazing. And it's not only doing things to the lung capacity, but it's also helping really stimulate a cascade of feel-good cocktails within the body. You know, and if we can do that, you know, without our wine or other chemical additives that come into us one way or the other, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. So anyway, thank you for sharing.
Interesting factoid, when you smile, it actually makes cooler blood reach your brain faster. So very valuable to health. They learned this actually by studying dogs first, and then they were like, oh, I wonder if the same thing happens with humans. Sure enough, dogs do actually smile. It's not an optical illusion. They're doing it for the same reason we are. It makes them feel better.
It makes them feel better. And I tell you, when my dog smiles, it makes me smile. You know, I get up in the morning, I get greeted with that Benny, benevolent, beautiful grin, and I go, oh, I'm so glad you're here with us. Yep. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. So once again, I would like to say to all the folks who are watching, once again, if you're watching live, you might be tuning in. We're at 2:34. We're kind of nearing the end of our program. But whenever you're watching this, live or replay, we're inviting you to come on over and hang out in the Crodcast arena. You can get there by typing in your browser ccst.io/e/Elaine Nieberding. That's I before E, except after C. 9. And anyway, we're working our way to getting more accomplished. That's another A word with Crowdcast. It'll come. Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, Marcus Dieterle appreciates your photos, and he, you know, mentioned about a great panorama, and then he said something to smile, and he posted a link to look up on the Crowdcast event comments over here.
So we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a trial just for fun. I'm gonna see what this will do. If I click on that, will it open up a tab that I can then screen share? Let's do an experiment. I don't know what will happen. It is a it's a Hobbes comment comic. And let's see if I can screen share it. Somebody might know the name of this type of comic. It says, "Okay, Hobbs, press the button and duplicate me." Are you sure this is such a good idea? Brother, you doubting Thomases get in the way of more scientific advances with your stupid ethical questions. This is a brilliant idea. Hit the button, will you? So, boink. I'd hate to be accused of inhibiting scientific progress. Here you go. Scientific progress goes boink. It worked, it worked. I'm a genius. No, you're not. You liar. I invented this. So there we go. I expect my audience could see this. And now, since I am still in screen share mode, I'm going to click on over to Eli Fennell's profile page in Google+. And I was telling Eli before in the green room, I appreciate him so much because, you know, I'm a person who likes a whole lot of variety. And he just bowls me over with the variety of things that he is able to write about intelligently, wittily, and he has been a beta tester for Google Collections, and now that Collections are launched for everyone on Google Plus to use, we can visit his collections. Dear Eli, Mr. Prolific Eli, has 34 collections, and they're on all these variety of topics. Blind me with science. Can't you hear the song now? Deep thoughts, observations, insights, and soapboxes. Hangouts. Google Plus Week and Android Week with Dan McDermott. Birthday greetings, photos and selfies, only in Florida. Gee, I wonder if a funny one. Here we go. We had to show this one. Ron, you were talking about this one with me. You have to have a close-up of a Florida mosquito. Now that is an interesting morph or combination of like a hummingbird and an alligator. Little bit scary. Anyway, so Eli, I want to thank you for your versatility and all this stuff. And just tell me a little bit, when you were getting started with collections, did you kind of make a list of all the potential areas, or did you review a lot of posts and say, what would be kind of the logical groupings of those, and then begin your collection gathering that way?
There's a little bit more madness than control there. I just started with like technology and marketing and social media, just some obvious things that came to mind, and then as I was going through my history of posts, I would see something and I'd go, oh, you know, that really should be in a category of its own. You know, what kind of category would that make sense in? And yeah, I guess I never really counted them, but I guess as you say, I ended up with 34 different ones. And really, I probably could add a few more there at some point if I really sit down and think about it. And yeah, it's worked out spectacularly. You know, I have about, as you might have seen in the screenshot there, about 67,000 profile followers, but as a comparison, I have about 76,500 followers of my technology collection. That's the largest one. And wow. I have a number that are thousands of followers above my profile followers at this point. And a few here and there that are a little bit below my profile following, but that's okay because those were the ones I expected. Many of my followers probably didn't really want to see that stuff from me anyways. That's what I love about this, is being able to segment the audiences. I just wish they would get this feature out to the iPhone people, because they just don't know what they're missing. And it just seems weird that, you know, the feature's been live for so long now and they still can't get it to the iPhone people. Then again, the iPhone people also get the, you know, the remember this day thing on Google Photos, and we Android people don't. So there's always some advantages and some disadvantages, and it just goes to prove Google loves multiple platforms and doesn't show total preference to any one, which is quite refreshing, actually.
Yeah. So, Eli, I have a new iPhone 6, and so when I first heard, oh, gee, it's not really fully functional, you know, on an iPhone, I did find, though, if I just, you know, type it in Google or Safari, you know, plus.google.com and bring up Google Plus that way, I can actually access collections that way. So it's a way that I could view collections or select collections that I wanted to follow. But as far as working on my own collections, I would never do that from that kind of setup in an iPhone. Once I have my own collection set up, then it would be easy for me, you know, to make a post from time to time on the fly, you know, with my iPhone if I would want to. So I'll probably do that, and I guess that will come in time. Just like with this new tool with Crowdcast, the developer is adding new features, you know, all the time, and he doesn't really say it's in beta mode, but yeah, a lot of stuff is being tested. It's kind of new. It's kind of a baby, and so we're trying things out. I did jump on over to the comment stream in Google Plus, and Layla Martin said, oh, she came over to the event page. It's kind of comfy. Well, you know, places in social media land do feel familiar, so we might head back there until we're educated, you know, about the benefits of trying out another platform. And once again, the hostess here will have to be a little better practice, so so the user side on the other end will be a little better. We'll be working at it. We'll be working at it. So let's see. We have Marcus Dieterle also saying, as far as I can see, Google's Alphabet only changes the organizational side of things, not the services themselves. Diversification is always a good thing if you want a business to be lasting longer than just a few years. Well, Google will indeed keep us on our toes. And Jeremy Murphy popped in. Hey, Jeremy. He said, I'll catch the replay. He's trying to catch up on Michael Hyatt's amazing daily Periscope. I have not done much on Periscope. In fact, I don't even think I've watched one. But I have succumbed to getting a Twitter account and watching Mia Voss's debut Blab just a few days ago. And apparently to participate in Blab or hold a Blab event, which is a video event with 4 things showing, like 4 spaces in a square on a screen, you have to have a Twitter account. And so now I am now venturing into Twitter. So Ron, you've had a little experience with Blab. What do you think?
Well, before I get into that, Marcus Dieterle, the comic strip, it's Calvin and Hobbes from Bill Watson.
Calvin and Hobbes. Okay.
Okay. My experience with Blab, I like it because of the ease of getting into it, and I think that's going to be the attraction for most people. And people can move in and out very quickly and without a lot of problems. I think, like anything, it's going to have its use. It's going to have its purpose. It's really new, so I don't think anybody has. You're going to have the people who come in, for stuff, and they're going to leave, and then you're going to have other people who are going to come in and play around with it and see how it works. There's some things that I think are missing that you have in Hangouts on Air, like a green room. When you start a blab, you have to get you started, and then you have to do your setup, and so there's no way to tell if things are working until you actually start your blab. So that's a tough one. But it's like everything. You have to watch it and use it. It's not going to be something that's going to get rid of Hangouts, although some people seem to think they're going to move totally toward that from Hangouts. And it's not going to eliminate Meerkat. It's not going to eliminate the others because they're all going to have their followings. Yeah. It's an interesting platform, and I'm just watching and learning and seeing what's happened. But I still come back to, I think the Hangouts and using the Hangouts is probably the best platform if you're doing anything like you're doing here, or somebody who wants to do some training or have like a webinar type thing. I don't think you can beat that format of Hangouts.
Ron, I have really been looking for the best way to find a platform for bringing together people in the laughter yoga community or people who do laughter practices easily, and it just hasn't been easy to get people to come into Hangouts. Now with Blab, it will be easy for like 2 laughter leaders to come in together and then have people from anywhere in the world come on in and participate for 5 or 10 minutes in the act of laughing, and yet anybody else around the world can watch, and the sessions can be recorded and they can be of any length. And that type of activity, which really, it doesn't have to be dependent on screen share stuff or sophisticated camera work or slides, that may work really well. So I expect I'm going to be trying some of that out. So for people who want to participate in live laughter practice things, this may be a really ideal forum. And once again, Blab, it's only been out a couple weeks. There is a little digest if you've signed up and if you've held a Blab or participated on a Blab, you then can get a little thing called like the Blab Digest, which I guess we'll talk about, its upgrades, its advances, feature enhancements, and just like Hangouts and just like Crowdcast, it's likely to be adding things as it goes along, Eli, have you seen any Blabs or have you participated on it? I hate the name though.
Nah, not really. I don't know. It all just seems to me that none of this stuff is mainstream yet. Mostly I just hear marketers talking about it and talking to other marketers and marketers watching marketers, and it just all seems to be pretty much just marketers. And I've been having a bit of a debate with Brian Fanzo, a good-hearted debate about this, that he seems to feel that marketers being early adopters helps grow platforms. I'm of the exact opposite view. I think too many marketers being early adopters tends to suck all the wind out of a platform. And honestly, I think that may have been one of the things that hurt Google Plus was, because it was so tied into SEO and all that, was that it became overloaded with marketers in the early days. I think it's ordinary people having fun, and that's why my general approach to any new platform is, can I have fun with it? If so, let me have some fun with it. If this works out to be some big thing that's mainstream, well, then maybe there's some value I can start to extract from it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to have fun like everybody else. Like I've been trying out this new social network out of Brazil called Eternine. Supposed to like
That's interesting.
Eternine. Supposed to give you social media immortality through this AI counterpart that will learn about you and start posting. Not really for you, because you can kind of tell that the counterpart's not you, but it's meant to sound more and more like you. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. Right now, it's clearly in beta. Like their categories, they've misspelled technology. That's how much beta it's in. But it's just fun. It's just a bunch of science and tech geeks just posting science and tech geeky stuff, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm not on there like, hey, buy my new book about how you can maximize your following on Eternine. Maybe that'll matter when it becomes huge. But I think marketers, they jump on these things, they see the opportunity to sell a system, but unfortunately, very often the only ones actually making money are the marketers selling the systems to other marketers.
Yeah. For me, when the laughter stuff gets going on Blab, the typical laughter yoga people, the laughter health professionals, they like serving, they hate selling. They hate selling. They hate selling. So we're likely to have a lot of fun-loving people exploring the medium, and maybe with just a little bit of guidance for some of us who have delved into the video arena playfully during the last year, we can help them, guide them through the process, because indeed it will likely be easier to use, much easier to use than the Hangouts on Air anyway. Though Google has now, since it's making Hangouts standalone and not really linked to G+ anymore with that requirement, there may be more people that start using the Hangout video call features anyway. And if they get comfortable with that, that may be a good stepping stone to getting comfortable with video and the more techie things to learn and play with on Hangouts on Air.
I wouldn't rule out either that Google will simplify the process in response to the competition. At least, make it easier to onboard like the first timers, because you see now with the growth of all these live streaming platforms that they're making plans to make live streaming to YouTube much easier, which thank God, because let's face it, it's been just about impossible. I mean, the world's most ubiquitous video platform, but for the average person to try to live stream to it has been just about impossible. So there is a sleeping giant here in Google and Hangouts and YouTube that if they can simplify the onboarding process, and this competition may compel them to do it, I think that really this may end up being the place to stick with anyways.
Yeah. So I'm glad I've gotten my start here. And now looking at the clock with a little bit of angst, I'm saying it's 2:54 Eastern. The time has gone way too quickly. As I look ahead to AA for autumn, there are lots of things I wonder about. I tell you, you can go on this internet and read stuff that'll scare the bejesus out of you. Stuff about conspiracies and who's really controlling things, and are the undercover ETs all going to emerge, and or around the 23rd of September, are we going to have an economic collapse, or I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going around. So while some of that from time to time draws me in very curiously, my awarenesses of the last couple days have been very helpful for me. Like, get back to nature, appreciating walking on the ground, feeling my connection to the earth, really appreciating all the senses I have in my body, my eyes, my ears, my sight, my kinesthetic sense. And as I express my appreciation for the things that appear on the outside, I let my heart open and enjoy the light that lights me up from the outside and from the inside. And then just realize I always have a choice about what I'm thinking and about what meanings I'm assigning to anything. And most of the time, like you, Eli, it just helps if I decide I'm going to make play and fun fundamental in my life, just like when I was a child. And that's kind of what my work is about. It's about helping people rediscover play, reanimate that, because I think that brings us back to our very amazing core of being human. So that's my little summation of A stuff for the day. Ron, you want to end up with any final words before we put in a link if anybody wants to kind of come on, jump into the Flocker room with us? Ron?
Yeah, Ray Hiltz made a comment. He said, I kind of see Blab as a green room. HOAs were said to be your personal TV studio, and he liked Eli's comment that platforms need to be fun. And my final thought is we have to all learn to adapt. I'll give you another A word there, Elaine. As situations come up, we have to adapt to them, and we have to change sometimes our thinking on how we handle a situation. And but it all works out in the end.
Okay, so what I have just done, I put into the Crowdcast comment stream the link on into our Flocker room. We give our audience an opportunity to come and hang out with us, shoot the breeze, shoot the shift for a few minutes afterwards. So once the broadcast ends, you are welcome to come and join us. And I am going to try to put this on over into the Google Plus place as well. So I'm going to do that now. And while I do that, Eli, if you would close with your final thoughts and any announcements as well, because that's another A word.
Well, let me just start by saying that I have spoken with the leader of the Reticulans, and I can assure you they have no plans to have their undercover agents expose themselves anytime soon. But yeah, my closing thoughts, as you know, is basically just along the lines of what I was saying, because I move in a lot of marketing circles, and I think that it's far too easy to get too serious, too bogged down in chasing the money. How can this new platform line my pocket? How can my followers help me line my pocket? Have fun, people. Have fun, because that's what's going to keep people wanting to come back. And be diverse. Don't be monotonous, because psychology studies have proven this forever. People get tired of monotony, but really you shouldn't need psychology studies to know that. Everybody gets tired of monotony. Everybody gets tired of the same thing over and over and over again. Don't get so hung up on, oh God, if I share this meme or this goofy video, it's going to destroy my professional credibility, because anybody who's that hung up on it is really not somebody I think you want to be working with anyway. So.
Okay, so I thought I had, there we go. I've just put the link to come into the Flocker room, into the Google Plus stream now. Come on in. So with that, we are going to say sayonara. We'd like to thank everybody who came by for a little bit or a long time. Come back and come and play with us again soon. Loosen up. Fly, get free, play. And right now, please do join us in the Flocker room if you would like to for a little bit more conversation. This is Elaine Nieberding signing off, episode 31 of the Holy Shift Show, with great appreciation to my friends and panelists, Eli Fennell and Ron Schneeberger. And we'll see you all another time soon, I hope. Take care, everybody.